computer.
Good day everyone. Last topic we have discussed the different computer hardware from portable computers, mini computers, and the different types of computers. So in this topic, we will discuss now the different desktop computer hardware. In this lesson, we will learn the parts of a computer system and we will identify how and what is inside the central processing unit or the CPU. So let's start our topic. So the desktop computer hardware. So computer components are different devices with different tasks. These components are also called peripherals. Altogether, they are called the computer hardware system. So the basic computer hardware system is usually composed of the CPU in the CPU box, keyboard, mouse, monitor, printer, and speaker. Let's start first with the keyboard. Keyboard is used to type data into the computer. It is one way of telling the computer what to do. You can type in words using the keyboard, you can type in numbers, you can type in commands and programs. The next one is the monitor. The monitor allows you to see what your computer is doing. It is like the television. You will see your letters, drawings, pictures, or movies on the monitor screen. Next, we have here also the mouse. The mouse is a pointing device. The mouse is used to enter data and commands into the computer. The mouse moves the pointer on the monitor screen. When you move the mouse, the pointer also moves. You can point the things on the screen using the mouse. The next one is the speaker. The speaker is the computer part that converts electrical signal to sound. The speaker allows you to listen to music from the computer. Other sounds can also be heard when the computer is working. Next one is the printer. The printer is a machine that takes what you have created on your computer and puts them on paper. The printer will print your letters or pictures on paper. The next one is the modem or the modulator and demodulator. It is a communication device that allows the computer to receive and send data and information to and from other computers. The transmission of information may occur over telephone lines, cables, satellites, and other media. Modem allows the home and school computers to connect to the internet. The capability to acquire and share information of one computer significantly increases when connected to the internet. And the last one is the central processing unit or the CPU. It is found inside the CPU box. The CPU is often called the brain of the computer. The CPU follows special commands called programs. It processes the data you enter into it using a program. So now, what is inside the CPU box? The CPU box is composed of motherboard, the CPU, memory, and internal storage, and the power supply. So let's have it one by one. Let's have first the motherboard. Motherboard is also called the system board. It is the main base of the computer hardware system. All parts, components, and devices connect to the motherboard. The motherboard is also the host of the CPU, the memory, and all the other essential elements of the computer. All other components are usually connected by a data cable. Next one is the CPU. It is the brain of the computer. It is inside the CPU box and placed on a special slot on the motherboard. The CPU is contained inside a small chip called the microprocessor. The CPU processes all the basic and complex instructions given to it. The next one is the memory. Memory is where data and programs are placed for execution by the CPU. The memory is also directly connected to the motherboard through a slot also called socket. So we have three kinds of memory: the RAM or the random access memory, the ROM or the read-only memory, and the CMOS battery or the complementary metal oxide semiconductor. Let's have first the RAM. RAM is also called the main memory. Data and programs are placed here when the CPU is processing. Information in the RAM are lost when power is turned off. Next, ROM or read-only memory. It stores important programs, for example, to start the computer. ROM information cannot be changed even when power is off. How about the CMOS battery or the complementary metal oxide semiconductor? It stores the date, calendar, and current time of the computer. It is powered by batteries so that even when the computer is off, information inside it remains. The next one is the internal storage. It is where data is kept for future use. This storage retains information even when power is turned off. The common internal storage is the hard disk and solid state drive. Hard disk without moving part is now popular. And the last one is the power supply. The CPU, motherboard, hard disk, and other components inside the CPU box get their power source from the power supply. Now, let's proceed with the machine cycle. So we have 4 basic steps that the CPU does to process its operation, from fetch, decode, execute, and store. So the process is repeated again and again until the last instruction. This is also called the machine cycle. So let's have first the fetch. Fetch is the process of getting a program instruction or data from the memory. The next one is decode. Decode is the process of translating these instructions or data that the CPU can understand and execute upon. And the next one is execute. This is the process of carrying out the command. It is either an arithmetic execute. The next one is the execute. It is the process of carrying out the command. It is either an arithmetic or logical operation. And the last one is the store. It is the process of writing the result to memory. This memory is in the CPU itself and they are called registers. This memory is not the RAM or the hard disk. So that's the different desktop computer hardware and how does the CPU process. So again, desktop computer are the different devices with different tasks. So I hope you have learned something today from our today's discussion. If you have learned something from our today's discussion, don't forget to like and comment in this video. See you on our next discussion. Goodbye and God bless.